for his always interesting and constructive comments. And I now open the floor to questions. Can you just raise your hand?
I noted the minister's position as it relates to the question of accountability. I noticed he was much more aggressive last year. He's much more milder and quiet. No. But I think one of the weakness, it is not that administrators and practitioners, teachers, did not see themselves accountable for the output. But I think there was a very, very serious weakness in the system of supervision. And hence the introduction of the National Inspectorate will probably help in dealing and overcoming with this weakness. And in fact, before the introduction of this system, the system was largely dysfunctional, especially at the regional level, and where you had, from the regional level, and where you have the direct supervision of the school by the territorial education officers. And one of my criticism at one point was that these persons did not have an eye for innovation. They were in a position directly to help to disseminate best practices as they supervised several schools, but this was not done. There was the big issue of the way policy was communicated and disseminated. So you have policy positions at the top, policy direction. But by the time it gets down to the regional offices, there was a total different interpretation of those policies. And if you're, at the time while I was operating as JTA president, for example, and you go across the country, you find the same policy being enunciated or being interpreted in different ways, thus creating confusion in the schools as you go along. So there was the issue of communication. I support the whole issue of autonomy, and I do not think at this time the way there is real devolution of authority in the way the regional authority is being set up. It is my experience that where you have very, very serious devolution of authority right down to the level of the school to school managers, it has, whether it has to do with the spending of money and dollar for dollar and proper, you're getting your full worth, or whether it has to do with output. There is always a problem with the leadership in some instances. But I think the system is too rule-driven. And when leadership at the level of the school take initiative, sometimes you are restricted by the very regional offices, which is supposed to see to it that authority is devolved right down to the school level. And your hands are tied sometimes. And this creates a great problem. So sometimes even the system of duality at the secondary level is perpetuated by these very officers. So reform is really needed at that middle management level. So I have been to school leaving functions at the primary level, and you have, when you have reports on the different students going to the different schools, some of those very, very officers big up those students going to certain school. They don't big up the other students going to the other schools, and it creates a problem in terms of perceptions and so on. So those are some of the things I really want for us to agree. Quickly, some of the things that are affecting performance and nobody mentioned it here. The very, very serious migration of our teachers. Active recruitment is taking place, roughly about 300 per year, especially in the sciences, and our most experienced teacher. What is new is violence and criminal activities which are disrupting the school, the business of equity and class sizes. Those are some of the things that must be taken.